internet! If you haven't learned better by now, I don't think you ever will. Hi, it's 7 p.m. I'm SneakyDevil, and this is Fanfiction Contempt Theater 9001. Welcome to it. Hope you are all ready to have your day made worse. As always, the fics are linked in the Discord down below, and we do not at any point encourage you to contact or do not contact the authors unless they say leave reviews, at which point they're asking do you have reviews left for them. So, there's a thing. Anyway.
Atin, are you feeling as hurt as I am right now?
I'm sorry, am I feeling as what, hurt?
Yeah, he didn't even intro us this time.
I don't intro you guys anymore.
I don't expect anything from him, so
You can intro yourselves if you want.
I expect consistency, at least.
Consistency. Oh, that's adorable. Hello, Bake. Hello, Chrysanthemum. Wonderful for you to join us tonight.
Oh god, why are they on time?
Woo! Alright, let's get this party started. Thanks, Gopher. I appreciate your Florida bucks. Primordial. This is a worm story, in case anyone was wondering. Creation, manipulation, destruction. 3 basic characteristics of existence. No, they aren't. The founding principles of the universe. Not really. They were opposites to each other. Opposites imply 2 things. And thus could not combine. Technically they can.
No, creation and destruction are opposites. Manipulation would be the combination of... I don't think this author knows what they're doing already.
But when all 3 are locked in a common medium, they detonate and form the next Big Bang?
apparently.
No, actually, they have the potential to unleash a power unlike anything the world has seen before. Well, considering we're talking about the primordial soup of the universe, yeah, no one seeing it before is kind of implied. It's like, no fucking...
Clearly, people saw it, they just didn't realize they'd seen it.
Obviously. It sometimes people just stun me with like, A, you thought this was cool? B, you thought this made sense? Like, I appreciate your attempt, but your attempt gets an F. Anyway, so this is supposed to be an adventure sci-fi with Taylor as the main character. And so this is what got me drinking already. I won't lie, this story is heavily inspired by an essence of silver and steel. As such, don't be surprised if you see similarities in this chapter. I won't be doing it for the whole story though, just the first chapter. Because the first chapter of Awosas was wonderfully written, and I wanted to try and make something similar by copying it. Speaking of the whole story, this is not the beginning of the story. It is the prologue of the story. But I'm really not starting the story yet. This is a trial test. I'm testing the waters with this chapter, and possibly a second chapter. After that, I'll wait to see if people like it. If it goes well, I might continue it. But what I want to do is prioritize the stories people like. So if you follow or favorite this story, it is with the understanding that it will not be completed, if ever. I don't want to read reviews of people asking for the next update, because I don't know when I will. But if enough people comment, follow, and favorite, I know that my efforts with this story will not be wasted. I might just swap this story in and work on it more frequently. Now, why I'm so angry at this is An Essence of Silver and Steel, for those who are unaware, is a fabulous Fate crossover. I believe it is just the Nasuverse in general. So Taylor basically connects to the Throne of Heroes.
Okay.
And that's her power. And so she can call on any hero that she identifies with enough and has enough knowledge of. Um, so it's actually really good. It's actually an amazingly written story, and I'm extremely offended that this author was like, I'm totally gonna do something similar, proceeds to not do anything similar, but still was gonna copy the first chapter, because that chapter was good, so I'll just do the exact same thing. An Essence of Silver and Steel is another Worm fanfiction. It's, like I said, very good. If anyone wants to check it out who likes Worm. Let us begin. Space, the final frontier. It was an overused cliche term that had truly lost its meaning long ago. Actually, not really.
No, it really hasn't.
The space is literally the final frontier. We really can't go anywhere else.
No,
Once you
not
hit
unless we
space.
figure out. Well, not unless we actually prove theoretical dimensional walls and then start busting through those.
But technically, we would still be in space, just in a different space.
Yeah, but see, that's a technicality, and
I mean, I guess
like, I'm not sure how much that goes. Well, I guess time would be another frontier.
I would sort of, but then just it really, but still at the same time, it's like, okay, we at least know we can get into space. Piercing time or dimensions that may or may not exist really is like not too good of a end goal. We don't have any proof of that yet. But
Oh, sure we do. You just aren't looking hard enough for it, Sneaky.
we already traveled through time. We just have to explore it in a different direction. Get the fuck out! I travel through time 1 second at a time.
God damn. I want to be angry about it, but that was actually really. That was well timed.
It is. It was.
Yes, I am glad we have excellent time puns going on. They are quite well timed all around, and it's very apt and appropriate at this time.
Oh God.
I can keep this up all day.
No, I'm looking at the summary for Essence of Silver and Steel, like the actual, like, story itself, not the one shot he did. No, he's like, oh, it's gonna be a sort of not quite crossover with Fate Stay Night and Prism Ilia. And it's like, why did you have to pick those two?
Yes.
Because those two are the ones where shit really gets fucked.
Oh yeah, no, shit gets really
Also,
fucked really
Prisma
quickly.
Ilia, like, out of all the Fate series I've seen, I think Prisma Ilia might be one of the most confusing.
Well, really, all he does is he borrows the whole system of installing the hero on herself.
Okay.
Yeah. At the moment of transformation, this is Essence of Silver and Steel. At the moment of transformation, when the connection was to be established and a young girl's life forever changed, the Red Shadow intervened, and the Administration Shard became its tool on the path of human salvation. With the power of every hero immortalized in myth and legend, what can that girl do but be a hero herself? And not quite crossover. Which, I mean, admittedly, I will give to him. He's basically just borrowing the system of I'm able to call upon any hero in myth and legend. He's not actually, like, borrowing anything. He's not borrowing the magic of the Nasuverse. He's borrowing from the myths and shit still.
Right.
Yeah, but here's the issue: is that this should be more of like an inspiration thing and not a crossover. And I'm gonna read through the story though, because
it's
always
very good. 100% recommend.
The Nasuverse is super entertaining as an idea, and the stuff that the author does with it, to the point of like, I'm gonna be smart, and instead of like using complex quantum theoretical time travel to explain things like BlazBlue does.
Magic.
I'm just gonna say no, not even that. I'm just gonna say that the multiverse theory is completely real in this universe.
Yeah.
Because that's how Zelvrich works.
Yes.
The kaleidoscope is like, oh, I can just look at other realities, and I can
Anyway.
also borrow magic from other dimensional versions of myself,
Yep.
giving
To
myself an
it!
infinite pool.
To it, the statement couldn't even be considered correct. The final frontier related to an extreme limit of understanding of achievement. For its creations to relate such words to its dominion were extremely foolish. Not that it could blame them, they believed they had limits, things which they could comprehend. In a way, they were right, but at the same time, they could not be more wrong. Currently, they were limited. They could only know an extremely small amount of what could be known. But a simple thought could change their physical, limited minds to one of inexhaustible complexity. They could become something with ties so deep to very existence itself that their current state of minds would combust before they would comprehend the proton-sized amount of it. They could create, destroy, understand all that which is needed to be known. But alas, they couldn't. Boy, guys, can you hear the author beating the word salad?
Nah, I don't see any problems here. Carry on.
That the being could only fix its sight faithfully on a large, primarily blue planet hanging slightly in space. Sorry, silently in space. Hanging silently. Fucking really. What are we, a diorama?
Apparently.
But its hate was not directed at the planet nor the life it fueled, but rather the lack of tangibility. As its inhabitants called it, Earthbat, as its inhabitants called it, a strange thing to name it considering the meaning, but it would not judge its creations. They could name their world whatever they wished. It reached out, attempting to caress the planet and its creations.
Um,
I'm getting uncomfortable reading this. And it had done much so in the
Sneaky,
past.
you're gonna get much more uncomfortable in a few lines.
It wished to do so very much to simply comfort them, give them a sense of peace and tranquility that their conflicted society prevented. But it had just happened. But just as had happened for the last 29 years, it found itself unable to do so. A wall of energy generated by them stopped it from doing what it and only it had the right to do. It was because of them that it could not touch its creations. It was because of them it suffered the deprivation that it did. It was because of them that some of its siblings had suffered the same problems. Also, I'm really curious, 29 years? Because unless this is like in wicked past, because like last I checked in 64 or something like that is when Powers happened. Dude, I don't even know what the hell you just said, but I'm going to assume you're an authority on this and say yes. And it was because of them that countless numbers of its siblings were unable to continue the cycle of creation, now it being among them. The mere thought of them made it want to. What is this? Another fucking space whale worm thing?
first superheroes appeared in 1986, according to the that timeline that you and I tracked down a while back.
Okay, so 29 years.
And Scion first showed up in 82.
Hello, Sean. Hello, Isley. I know you're silent there, but I just want to say hi.
Well, now you're putting pressure on them.
I know.
How could you?
Ah, you know. Skitterbleh. More than billions. Wait.
Bless.
Quelling the sensation, it instead turned its focus back to its most prized possession and then even more valuable beings on it. Despite its intangibility to interact with its creations, it could still view them, something which it took full advantage of. Encompassing the blue marble in its mind, it could see everything, down to the very atoms that made the world up. It saw things the things it saw only increased the painful ache.
You
More
get that,
than
Sneaky?
7 billion of its creations in total lived on the planet. More than half of them lived in some negative shape or form: poverty, orphan, diseased, homeless, starved, beaten, enslaved. Some part of their lives were things not as they should be. Not anymore, not after its plan was supposed to be implemented. It should not have been this way. The conclusion of the Second World War was supposed to be the turning point, the new golden age where it could take pride in its creations, where it could watch them evolve and grow with the pleasure of some limited yet still present interference. Yet because of them, it could not commence its plan to bring a new age of prosperity for its creations. God, this is just so fucking droll to read. Blah,
Honestly,
blah,
I just
blah.
don't care.
Word fucking salad.
Like I was kind of interested at the beginning, but I'm just like, you're just going on.
You have just
and
fucking
on.
lost me. Blah blah blah. Word fucking salad. Queen administrator. Blah blah blah. Word salad. It contacted the shard. Assimilation. A purple orb ripped into it and assimilated with the thing. It requests immediate cessation. Negative. Assimilation. Advancement. Extinction. Blah blah blah. Someone's using the Zalgo text. Destination, trajectory, integrate, agreement, evolution. Wow. Just. If we started with fucking this, I would be a lot more interested in the story. But instead, we get this fucking purple prose ethereal entity that watches over the human species bullshit that makes me just sit there and go, Jesus fucking Christ, it keeps going. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
So I don't understand. Is it saying that there's something trying to watch over the humans and the shards are getting in the way?
From what I get, God exists and the shards are preventing God from guiding humanity into a golden age.
I have.
I wonder if he's talking about.
So many problems with that.
Well, he might be talking about Gaia or the root itself.
Except,
look, regardless of what it is, it's some big shiny thing.
Honestly,
yeah, no.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, time to keep going. So, let's see. Round and round the wheel goes. Who knows what we get? This one. The misery of one is the happiness of another. A StarCraft story.
Well, this is going to depress me immensely because all the StarCraft stories we found so far have been garbage.
Oh yeah, it's really unfortunate. The StarCraft section has just been massive trash. Like, don't get me wrong, the StarCraft section still is not as bad as the Alien vs Predator section, where it's either self-insert OC female fucks Predator or self-insert male fucks male alien. Look, there is a lot of gay xenomorph fanfiction, and I am excessively confused about it.
Can Zeke's program give us a breakdown percentage-wise?
I mean, I don't know. You'd have to ask him. Hey, Zeeks, can you get that shit?
Because I'm curious if we can get actual stats to back up our ranting. Because then people can't say we're just talking out of our ass. We'll be like, no, we have numbers.
I mean, I do talk out of my ass, but normally those ass facts come with actual statistics. Backstreet statistics.
You okay there, buddy?
No. I'm working my way up to drunk. What happens if I pour vodka into apple cider? Only good things.
Disgusting.
Needs to be stronger. It works? Yeah, I wasn't kidding about the gay xenomorph fanfiction. You thought I was joking? I wasn't joking. There is a
Who thought you were joking?
Yeah.
Big thought I was joking.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, Sneaky wishes he was joking.
I really do. The other lesser market of xenomorph fanfiction is self-insert female times xenomorph. I really don't get it. It's a fucking series about brutal violence, people being ripped open and ripped in half and shot with laser beams and explosions, and all the fanfiction for it is, hey, gay asexual aliens. I don't know.
I mean,
look,
I just
no, you don't understand, Bake. There's no girl. It is literally just gay shit. It's not even like people die in half of these fanfics. Like, Jesus Christ.
You sound so distraught.
I am. I like AVP. I will recommend one fic though. It's called New Blood or Alien's Blood, something like that. Anyway, the author basically wrote it, and you could mistake it for another Aliens sequel. In terms of like the thematic setting and how he sets everything up and the character, amazingly good. Unfortunately dead, but it was really good when it was going.
That's nice.
It is. Yeah. Okay. I'm adding more vodka to this apple cider. And I'm out of vodka. Well, until I crack open the new bottle.
wait. I'm sorry, Sneaky. Are you telling me you already went through the new bottle, or are you just now cracking that one
I
open?
have the new bottle still.
Okay,
I was
Sneaky.
just-
I
was
needed
finishing-
to check.
It was, I poured like 9, 10, 20 fingers of vodka into this. I think it'll be good for this stream. It's actually not that bad. Ugh. Maybe a little bit less vodka, but I'm working on it. Isley's right on that. Isley's right. Could I link the Xenomorph? Yeah, sure. I'll after this stream is over, I'll link it on the server. Anyway, so back to what matters. The misery of one is the happiness of another. They wanted a weapon against Kerrigan, but not just a weapon, the ultimate weapon, capable of harming her physically, but also psychologically. But Manx makes a grave mistake when he decides the weapon is not powerful enough. A primal mistake, some would say.
No, a primal mistakes. So first
Oh.
of all, primal doesn't make a whole lot of sense in front of mistakes.
He's implying that he's been injected with primal Zerg.
Okay, well, first chapter's just an author's note.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, hooray, I love these ones. Because it means we can skip them.
You sound like You sound like All Might. No, Isley is clearly Obi-Wan. And now he watches as those green eyes disappear, only for them to reappear, more powerful than ever and full of rage. Family romance!
Yep, checks out.
And I'm assuming this is totally edgy James Raynor with the glowing red eyes and red scars.
Well, it's either it's Jim
It's
or
Jim.
it's
James times Sarah. It's straight up. Sarah Kerrigan is the Queen of Blades, and Jim's Raynor. Jim's
Raynor, the lesser known and far less famous brother of James.
Yes, he's an accountant on Arcturia 5.
How do you think James kept himself in the black for so long? He had a wicked good accountant for a brother.
His little brother, Jim's Raynor.
No, clearly it has to be the older brother who was not a disappointment to the family.
Indeed. Anyway, James Raynor times Sarah Kerrigan, Arcturix Mengsk, and OC. There's no times for the Mengsk and OC. This is not a haram. This is pure halal.
Please, no.
This is an introduction to this new fanfic that happened to slap me in the face. A what if kind of fanfic. Now I can hear you rolling your eyes. I have very good ears, thank you very much. And saying, one of these again. And yeah, I guess it kind of is one of those again. But I will try to make it interesting for you all, you StarCraft lovers out there. So if you don't want to hear the bit on the origin and matter of speaking, you can just skip all of the rest. But keep in mind, English is my secondary language. My first being French. Oh good, it's a fucking frog.
I don't care if it's your first language or your second language.
Please and thank you. On a side note, if someone would be willing to help me with all the beta related things, please contact me again. Thank you. The real chapter is coming soon. Now for the origin. Why are all the fucking stories I'm picking today inspired by X stories?
Because
That's
it's a lot
on
easier
you.
for people to create derivative garbage than to try to do something themselves.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. First, a giant inspiration of this story is the fanfiction dragon story that is named StarCraft II: Kerrigan's Child. I love that story to death, so much I made a shitty spin-off. Fun fact, it actually the fanfic that made me start reading fanfictions in general. I completely recommend reading the story if you love StarCraft and just want to see Jim and Sarah being happy. Another big inspiration is War Chief's story that is named When One Domino Falls. Again, great story, great idea, and in general, perfect representation of what the magistrate from StarCraft 1 would be like if he had dialogue. Second, this is my first fanfic ever, so constructive reviews are welcome. Third, this is an original character story with no pairings. Jim and Sarah are here, but I am far from a guru when it comes to writing relationships. So that's why I made a fanfiction about writing relationships. This is a story that I do as I go along. Of course, I have general idea for this story, but if you guys have ideas, you are more than welcome to share them with me.
See, that right there, that just makes me sad. Because that means the author doesn't actually know where they want to go. They have the kernel of an idea, and they didn't bother to develop that idea, and they're hoping that someone more intelligent and original than them will give them a great idea in the comments. So not only is their work derivative, it's not even going to be their own, probably.
Manx stares at the sleeping form of his newest weapon. Hold on, let me fix this. There we go. More like a pet, he thought to himself with improper grammar, while a smile that was full of malice and hate. That said pet appeared to be a normal... That said pet appeared to be... ... a normal-looking teen of maybe 16 years, 17 at most. Short black hair that up close had a slight red tinge, chiseled for some reason capitalized, feature that it took from him. Slightly muscular frame, but really malnourished, and the thing he hated, no, despised the most. Those closed eyes. It just had to have those eyes, he thought to himself, with barely controlled rage.
What? I couldn't hear you over the sound of barely controlled grammar?
Yes, indeed, pretty much. Now you may be asking, who was the boy who could enrage the Emperor without doing anything? I'm actually not asking that at all. Simple! It was Project Birth! Like Project Afterbirth. Hey! I'm a comedian.
I'm not going to dignify that.
It's likely a Kerrigan clone. Yeah, it's likely that Mengs took Kerrigan and shoved his DNA into it. Because that's what you do, right? As an evil guy? One of the Dominion most ambiguous project. What? The project that, if made properly, could have the power to kill every enemy to the Dominion. Really, every enemy. Of course, there's a lot of steps before that, Manx thought. Looking around the lab, seeing all the scientific testing, everything in the pet's DNA, up to his psychic statistic. But it seems it will be happening very soon, he thought with a smile. Okay, look. There is one thing that will make me hate your story faster than
Only one, really.
almost everything else. And the reason behind that is because my eyes notice that, because my eyes read words properly. Misplaced quotes piss me off very quickly. Because my eyes will see this last line, end quote, he thought with a smirk, and think that's the dialogue line, because that's how dialogue quotes work. And so then I have to go, wait a second, no, it was actually the previous line, the author's just an incompetent buffoon. But yeah, I mean, obviously other things get me pissed fairly quickly. But, like, even if your story is excellent, and if I see that, I'll get fucking enraged.
Alright, so you've been enraged.
I am thoroughly enraged. POV change! They think I don't hear them. But I do. I always hear them. I don't have a name, I think. There's a lot of things I am confused about. There's a lot of things I'm certain about. But I know that I'm powerful. They say my name. They say I am more powerful than Agent X41822N. I don't know who that is. I know that they are taunting me by transplanting memories. Memories of a man and a woman. The man wants me to hate them. I didn't hate them. Oh, fucking Christ! I know what the author's gonna do.
Yeah, Sneaky, it's blindingly obvious what they're going to do.
Alright, enlighten us then.
Well, it's going to go be their kid.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe you're right. I am indeed enraged by everything. I can't say I hate everything because that's trademarked by I hate everything. TM. What the hell is his point of view change? I see a wall of sentences starting with I and I'm out. Yeah, pretty much. How not to do a point of view change? Fucking this. Would they love me if they found me? It's just... So,
Anyway.
Oh, boy, I was gonna say he dunks the kid in the primal infection pool.
Yep.
Of course. Yep. Lovely. Is this good or is this bad? Give me a review. I hated this. It was painful to read. He asked for my opinion, so I'm giving my opinion.
I would just say, well, feel free to explain to him why you hated it, because the plot is incredibly obvious and contrived.
Fair enough. The plot is contrived, cliche, and obvious. Your grammar sucks. I know you said English isn't your first language, so wouldn't that mean you should try harder to get it right? And, not say half-ass it?
Sneaky, you don't know for sure that they're half-assing it. They might genuinely think they were correct.
Again, I really will forever reiterate, pick up a fucking book and look at it with your eyes. None of the shit I did in my story in terms of grammar ever happens in a published book. Maybe the book is wrong. No, Professor. It is the books that are wrong.
You said maybe the book is wrong.
Okay.
Twice.
Let me think about this. Maybe I'm wrong. No, it is the books that are wrong. There we go. Like, you have to excuse me. I'm mildly drunk.
Only mildly.
I mean, I've gotten used to it.
Anyway.
Dying of alcohol poisoning? Good sir! I cannot die of alcohol poisoning.
That's a bold statement, Sneaky.
I cannot die of alcohol poisoning on my budget. That's better.
No, I'm pretty sure you still could.
Yeah.
Look, everyone, I'm
In
using
fact, I'm
something
very
that
sure you
improves
could.
my ability to speak when I'm fucking drunk. It's almost like it's a free program. We're not sponsored by Grammarly, but I really recommend people use it. Anyway, now that that's the do, let's move on to the next story, which is eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Scroll up and down to pick this one. It didn't fucking work, did it? No, it didn't. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
10 out of
Pick
10.
this one. Ruby the Dark Hunter, Halo Ruby crossover.
Okay.
The author actually reread his story and didn't find anything wrong with it. Yeah, twice. He reread his story twice to make those edits. Ruby, the Dark Hunter. With the Vital Festival approaching, a sudden...
You sure we've never read this? The story... the story picture seems familiar.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible I might have brought it up before, and then we just never covered it.
We have done that.
Isley says we might have read this before, so I'm gonna believe Isley and assume we have, and save you. All
No,
the
Isley's
pain.
saying he's read this one, not we. He.
Oh, okay. Well, hello, Ruby. It's about as awful as you think it's gonna be. Anyway, as I was saying, the sudden and devastating attack on the police precinct causes alarm in the Kingdom of Vale. Professor Ozpin assigns Team Ruby to investigate the vicious attack and report their discoveries. Oh yes! Hey, first year kids! Why don't you go investigate a police bombing? I'm sure you're fully qualified to do the investigation and not say the police who are trained to do that. What nonsense is that? Letting the police investigate something?
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time they've ignored the police in that show.
I'm aware. That doesn't make it okay.
You're right, it doesn't. However,
unbeknownst to the huntresses themselves, they become the attacker's next target. Prologue, May 26, 2558. Kingdom of Vale Commercial District, 12:48 a.m. Demos. Heading down the dark roads of night through the city of Vale, a boxcar supply truck was making its runs through the commercial district with its special cargo of elemental dust and an energy propellant, blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah, shit that doesn't matter, blah 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 blah. What are you, the fucking Cimmerillion? Blah blah blah.
excuse me, that is an insult to the Silmarillion.
I know. It's fanfiction though, so it's already shit.
I mean, not inherently.
Honestly, I view every single fanfiction as inherently garbage until I'm proven otherwise. It's just
That's
better.
your opinion, I suppose.
It is my opinion, and I'll stick to it. Hey, I love the Cimmerillion. I'm not dissing the Cimmerillion. I'm just saying I don't need to know the backstory behind the front headlight of a truck. That is likely to not matter at all in the next paragraph. I'm just saying. The Cimmerillion sort of did that with a lot of things.
Excuse me, every detail the Silmarillion gave you is incredibly important. No.
Team Ruby is now Detective Conan. Yes.
It's better than Detective Pikachu, which, again, they missed an immense amount of potential by not having him voiced by Danny DeVito.
Anyway, blah 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 blah. Put your hands in the air. He's being robbed. Blah blah blah. It's fucking Mjolnir suit. Blah blah blah. the helmet, the agent, the fucking the word's escaping me. The Spartan was using was a human skull with no eye sockets and a large white X. I didn't realize the fucking meta was here.
Sadly, he is.
This is your last warning. Oh, we'll open fire. Blah blah blah. A deep synthetic voice answered, "As you wish, officer."
Oh my god,
Armor-clad
Sneaky, I
hands.
think it's actually the meta.
I swear to fucking God. Blah blah blah. Police sergeant. He's pulling a Joker. Jesus fucking Christ. This is just so. Blah blah blah. Paragraph of fucking text. People are dying. Oh my god, why he's killed a bunch of people, shoot at him. They tried to shoot at him, but he dodged all their bullets. Because he has a jetpack in his armor. The ceasefire, they all stood there trying to find a sign of him.
Oh.
And then he was there in the
This
middle
actually
of
is the
them.
meta.
Is it really?
Okay, no. Oh, thank goodness. No, it's giving some edgy OC name. Thank goodness.
Yes, the meta was a thing from Red versus Blue. I'm Deimos. I mean, do you want the whole thing in Batman voice, or do you want just Deimos' lines in Batman voice?
Just Deimos' lines.
I can do that. I'm Batman. I'm Deimos.
Yeah, well, luckily we're pretty much done here. So.
Blah, blah, blah. He had a bunch of guns on him, and he used those guns to kill a shit ton of people. Blah, blah, blah. He loots shit from the place, and blah, blah, blah. Spartan Adam, you have acquired the objective? Question mark. The giant hits back in a
hold on. I want to
threatening
point
tone.
something out. This guy's using his knife to pick locks, which is not how locks or knives work. But this is the knife that was stated to be a 10-inch knife.
Obviously, I have not seen Red versus Blue since 2009. One of these days I need to read a shit fic and chat this week. I've done that before.
Yeah, he has.
Spartan Adam, have you acquired the objective? The giant hits back with a threatening tone. I told you not to call me that. It's Deimos. Spartan Deimos, have you acquired the objective? Yes, Major. I have the objective. Good. Proceed to the rendezvous coordinates outside the city. Prep the package for extraction. Consider it done. I'm Batman. Bye, Calvin. The radio falls silent, blah blah blah. He picks up the case and he walks away. Oh, my cabbages, says the truck driver. I mean, not really, but basically.
I was gonna say, I know he didn't, but
Please note, I'm trying this out for the Rubyverse. This is also a tribute to Monty Ohm. I want to thank Rooster Teeth Productions for continuing Ruby in Monty's name. Okay, I want to set two things out. A, fuck people who go, this is a tribute story to Monty Ohm. Fuck you. Like, it's like if someone wrote hundreds upon thousands, started a fucking ship war, harassed voice actors, and a whole bunch of other fucking shit that this Ruby community has done, and then goes, you know, they do it in the fucking, I don't know, Lord of the Rings community, and you go, oh, this story is a tribute to, Tolkien. It's like, fucking why? It's like, you're doing it because you really enjoy the work. If you're writing this story because it's a tribute to the person who originally wrote the content, what? I just find that personally insulting to Montiome, I guess you could say.
For me, I was gonna say, I find something this stupid insulting to Monty.
Yeah, I guess that's where my anger comes from, is that it's just absolute shit that people are saying, oh, this is a tribute. But, I mean, at the same time, I feel like the only works you could say are, like, genuine tribute works to Montiome is if shit's entirely canon, and it's just like a, you know, this is a slice of life of Ruby, and, you know, it doesn't focus on the whole fighting the big bad, but instead of it's the everyday life and times of Ruby or something like that.
Or
Then
like,
you
you
say,
know, if people want to do like awesome fan art or,
Yeah.
or even OCs for the Ruby universe, like go ahead, dedicate that to them all you want.
yeah, like if you want to do fan art or like some stuff that's like 100% in canon, does not deviate at all, and you're like, oh, this is a tribute to Montiome. Yeah, thank you for the great memories or something like that. I'm fine with that. Even if it's shit, I'm still fine with it. But you're like, oh, hey, this fic, which is about Batman killing people, and Ruby has to find him before he kills them. This is a tribute to Montiome. It's like, but that's nothing to do with what Montiome made. That's literally almost a self-insert OC killing his shit. How is that a tribute? It's like saying fucking, oh, Alex Mercer going, this story about Alex Mercer going and killing the Twilight cast is a tribute to Stephanie Meyer. How is that a fucking tribute? It's insulting. That's what it is. Anyway, the other part about it, Rooster Teeth continuing Ruby. Yeah, they can say they continued it in Monty's name. Ruby's a fucking cash cow. Of course they fucking continued it.
Okay, now hold on a minute.
They're a corporate.
Obviously,
no, look, dude.
money is a motivating
Look,
factor.
dude, they are 100% corporate at this point.
I'm not saying they aren't at this point, but like, let's be clear, they'd already started the show.
Yeah.
Well, like they were 2 seasons in before anything even happened to it. Like, obviously, they're gonna keep something going that they've already put that much time and money into. And as for the people that are currently doing it, like Miles and Carrie, even if people don't necessarily agree,
No, don't get me wrong. Hats off to them.
I would say even if people don't necessarily agree with the direction they're taking it in, they knew Monty. They worked with him very closely for the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I'm sure, and you know, a lot of the animation team, at least the original animation team, you know, I'm sure that there's still probably 60% of the people on that project personally knew Monty and can say that they're helping continue it as a tribute to him.
I mean, yeah, I would certainly say that, but from the sounds of it, with what's going on with it and the directions they're taking and how it just appears to be going so slowly at this point, because, like, Jesus fucking Christ, the sections that Monty had a hand in, we got to year 2 in 3 seasons. And now we're starting season 6, and like half a semester has passed. So, I don't want to say they're dragging it out, but it certainly feels like they're dragging it out to milk it. Like I said, I don't know what's going on in Ruby in terms of Rooster Teeth. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if that was part of the notes. But from my perspective, from the actions of Rooster Teeth, it looks like they're just dragging it out to milk money from it at this point.
I mean, look, again, we can't say.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I don't think there's any point to speculating on it because we'll never know either. Not unless someone comes out with like a tell-all post or something.
We got some interesting discussion going on in our chat here. Yeah, 50 Shades, yeah. Honestly, I read the Twilight series since you're all talking about that. I read the Twilight series. I read all of them. Because I am of the opinion if I'm going to criticize something for being absolute shit, I have to at least have knowledge of it. And this is before the movies came out. You know. So I had to read the books. So I did. The series is an insipid pile of shit with a bunch of stupid decisions made by people who should have known better. And some bullshit, love conquers all, so that's why we have a child. Also pedophilia. That was the thing. I don't know. I never watched the movies because I read the series and I was just like, wow, this is garbage. And I heard they were making movies and I was like, wow, it's gonna be garbage.
I did not read those books. Because I don't hate myself. But like, for instance, when I heard they were making movies as well. Out of the Hunger Games, I was like, that's not gonna go well. Because I'd read the first book, I read the second book, and after that, I decided that these books were not worth my time or money.
I got to like the second book in the Hunger Games, and I, being a person who had read all the Twilight series, got to the second book of Hunger Games and had to stop reading because I was just like, this is just so fucking dumb. And honestly, that's one of my key points of anger appears these days. Is just I'm just so tired of this stupid, dumb, low quality shit being what gets popular among people. And I don't know why it gets popular among people. Because it's shit. It is boring shit. And yet it sells millions. And it just lowers the bar as a published work. It lowers the bar. And that makes me disappointed.
Or like, I had a friend who suggested I read the Divergent series, and I thought it was terrible. And they're like, "Come on, just give it a chance." And they loaned me all the books, so I read all 4 of the books, and I was like, "This isn't the worst thing I've ever read, but I've read a lot better, and I wouldn't."
The Divergent series. What were the book titles?
It's like Divergent. That's the first one. I only remember the title of the first book, Divergent. I like. Honestly,
I feel like I've read them before. The Divergent
stupid
series.
And forgettable.
Okay, no, I haven't read these. Divergent, Insurgent, Allegiant. Oh shit, no, I feel like I read these now.
They're set in like bombed out.
Oh, dystopian Chicago. 5 factions. No. Maybe I think it was. I read this. Did you ever read the specials, the uglies, the pretties?
No, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, basically it was this series about dystopian future in which genetic engineering was huge, and if you had money, you were pretty and therefore popular, and you could keep up with the genetic therapy trends of like, oh, big ears are popular now, and so everyone will get genetic therapy to have big ears. If you were rich.
Right.
The uglies were the people who couldn't afford genetic therapy, and then the specials were like people who got genetic therapy to become like basically secret agents in like kung fu, special agent, Spetsnaz shit going on.
Right.
Honestly, it was at the time of me reading it as a 14-year-old or something. Actually, a fairly good series. I found it fairly interesting. Percy Jackson was... The first book of Percy Jackson kept me interested. Everything past the first book just got progressively cringier to read. Horus Heresy, young adult novels seem to be just poorly written or banal. Everyone here hates about the genre, right? Well, yeah, the young adult novella section is just garbage these days. I mean, it's been garbage for a long time. I say these days, but honestly, it's been garbage for a very long time. Mostly because of my generation and the generation after us just being absolutely moronic and having no standards when it comes to reading, because no one ever encouraged us to read besides in school.
I remember reading, and Sneaky, maybe you read this one. Did you ever read the Ranger's Apprentice series?
Yes.
Like,
Okay.
up until the book where they like went to not Japan,
Yeah.
I was like totally on board. I was like, these are good. I enjoy these books. There was interesting character growth. There were cool characters.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Like I said, my main problem with YA is that because our generations were not encouraged to read. I mean, I was encouraged to read, so I didn't read a lot of that insipid shit. I read a lot of that insipid shit so I could fight fucking people in my school with it. Be like, no, it's shit because X, Y, and Z. I fucking read the books, I know what I'm talking about, and they always lost against me because I read all the fucking books, so I knew how to insult them. But my generation and the generation that followed us were not encouraged to read. We were not in the reading that we did usually, for the most of the people, was assigned reading, and those books were usually boring as fuck. I don't know how they did in Chicagoland, but the books that we got assigned were just so fucking boring.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. The books that they had us read, starting with like 5th grade, they were just the most boring, inane thing.
Yeah. No, it is.
And like, the only one that was like even remotely interesting, they're like, all right, we're gonna make 6th graders who, some of these kids, you know, this was just pathetic, but it's like some of these kids barely have like a 4th grade reading level. We're gonna have them read A Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
We got that one book about the yellow fever. Did you ever read that one?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, it was about some nurse who tended to people with the yellow fever, and it was her story. It was a fiction novel. But point being, the stories were boring, and of course, no one wanted to read them. But that was my generation's interaction with reading here in America land. Boring fucking stories. So of course, when not boring fucking stories, even if they were trash, came out, they became immensely popular. Because the Hunger Games, because Twilight, because the characters were so bland and no personality, which boy do I choose? Stories. They got immensely popular because the person reading the story could easily insert themselves into it, whether it's as Peter or Katniss or whoever the fuck, because none of the characters had any personality beyond, I am X trait. Oh wow,
they would be
look
even
at me.
3 or 4
I'm
traits,
so
but not
fucking
any of them really
relatable.
strongly, so that you could insert multiple people into this character.
Yeah. It's just like, And so that's why they became popular. And everyone looked at that and went, wow, these absolute garbage books are popular. I should write that and get in on the cash cow. So that's what we got PJO from. That's what we got a shit ton of these books from. And some of them started good. PJO. Ranger's Apprentice. Some of them were just garbage outright. Twilight. Hunger Games. But at the end of the day, they all turned garbage because they all followed the money. Not that I can blame them. Who I do blame is the generations reading them. They had no fucking standards, and so now we have fucking such shit tier standards when it comes to published reading, that now we have even lower fucking standards when it comes to fanfiction reading. It's like, wow, this story is better than the canon. No shit, it's better than the canon. I could write a better story fucking dead. Percy Jackson, Olympian series, PJO.
I was fucking rat and a half.
Do either of you disagree with me on that though?
I personally think that Percy Jackson actually stayed pretty strong throughout the entire series.
I don't think he was talking about Percy Jackson. I think he's talking about the rant. But does this mean I can blame you Yanks for the low standard in reading? Because
somewhat New York bestseller, yeah, I'll take the blame for that.
Because you mentioned our generation, because keep in mind, you guys are only like 2 to 3 years younger than me.
Yeah, I'm like
at the most. Yeah, at the most.
Yeah.
I don't know, but we had a program called Accelerated Reading.
Yeah,
where you earned points for doing quizzes, and those points you could use to get little prizes.
Yeah, no, unfortunately...
See, we had accelerated reading, but there were no prizes, just points.
Oh, we had actual incentive, like, oh yeah, you can use these points to get stuff at your school.
No, we didn't even have that. So what happened in New Jersey is that the population was aging at my time. And so they had to cut, like, Guardians of Gahul. There's a fucking young... would I say that's a young adult series? I don't know. It's a good series, too.
It's not young adult.
It's not young adult.
Man.
That's a good fucking series, though. Like, Jesus Christ. That was a good series.
Yeah, like, I don't know where I would stick it, because it was certainly written for and aimed at young children.
Yeah. But the reading level for it was like 5th grade.
Yeah.
Oh god, there was one series. Was it the Underworlders?
City of Cross?
No.
City of Embers? Those are both good series as well.
The Underland. That's what it was. The Underland Chronicles. I have good memories of that series.
Yeah, but like, and
started with a book called Gregor the Overlander. It's a children's fantasy novel, but it actually took a look at took a look at some fairly mature themes, like dealing with death and whatnot, from time to time. So it was actually really interesting as a read.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think I first read it in middle school, and I ended up rereading the first book like in my later years of high school again. It's like, wow, this held up surprisingly well.
Yeah, because it's actually funny. In terms of how the reading centers worked in my school, because there were none, and there were basically none in any of the other schools either. But it's funny because I originally started out as a kid that couldn't stand reading. I couldn't stand it. Do you want to know the only reason I learned to read?
Brandon
there was this kid in my class, and I hated his guts. Names will not be named in case someone ever finds a way to track these people down.
Oh, fucking Christ. What books did I read in school, dude? I can't even remember what kind of books I read. You know what books I remember reading in school? All the ones they never fucking assigned to me.
Yeah.
That's the kind of books I remember reading in school. I remember The City of Bones. I remember the City of Embers. That was a fucking good series, as I said. I believe that was young adult. That was 8th grade. Yeah, that's young adult.
I didn't really read a whole lot of like young adult books because like by the time I hit like fourth grade, I was just a giant nerd, and then I found out about the Star Wars expanded universe, and that's where all my money went.
Yeah.
My money went to Star Wars and Drizzt.
Scholastic would be passed around, and I would be the only one who would ever order books from Scholastic.
There were like 4 other kids in my entire group that ordered books, but yeah. Well, because I remember getting excited. I think it was
Scarlet Letter, yep. To Kill a Mockingbird, yep.
I remember I opened it up and it was like, oh shoot, there's a new Guardians book. I gotta get my parents to get this for me.
Yeah. Another book series I highly recommend is the Newsfeed series. It's a post-apocalyptia, what if the zombie virus happened, and all that was left in terms of, like, news sources, because we still have internet and shit, because, you know, basically the premise of the world is, in every other zombie story, zombies were never a thing. Until suddenly now. But in the Newsfeed saga, it goes on the premise of, for years we've had movies and books and stories about the zombie apocalypse. So when it actually happened, everyone was like, alright, don't get bit, shoot them in the head. And bloggers ended up being the main source of news / entertainment from then on. And so you would follow blogs that you like, sort of like a YouTube style system. And it was, oh my god, it was actually a really enjoyable read. I won't say it's amazing. I won't say it was like great or excellent in any form of literary usage, but it was a solid series that I highly enjoyed reading. But anyway, my point back to my generation and why young adult and why fan fiction I believe sucks now is we never had a standard to set. The majority of our generation didn't grow up on reading good books. They grew up on reading boring as fuck books and really shit books that you could insert yourselves in and have daydreams about how awesome you are. And so then we get fan fiction of really shit and really shit fan fiction that you can easily insert yourself into and have daydreams about how awesome you are. And so then we get video games. Mass Effect Andromeda is a good fucking example. One of the lead people in it was a fan fiction writer, romance fan fiction writer for Mass Effect, who wrote absolute garbage tier romance fan fiction for Mass Effect. But she was a lead fucking writer, according to her, on the Andromeda series. This is the shit tier stuff that is now leaking into books, movie scripts, show scripts, comedy scripts, games. That is why I really started this podcast. I was pissed at fanfiction, sure, but I knew that everyone who started with fanfiction in this day and age would end up finding themselves inevitably in either games, movies, shows, etc. as the companies that make these shit is desperately looking for new content, and they go, oh hey, this person's super popular, let's make them do a sci-fi story because they're really popular in the Mass Effect fan section for fan fiction. Well, turns out they're really popular because they write the fucking power fantasies everyone wants, but they're actually a shit writer who doesn't know plot, who doesn't know how to write characters, who doesn't know how to write a setting. And so when they've released that new show, oh, it turns out that show's fucking garbage. Turns out that game's fucking garbage. Turns out that movie script is garbage. Because everyone grew up not reading. Everyone grew up on really shit tier stuff because they had no standards from the not reading. And now here we are with shit tier AAA published garbage and nothing else. Because that's what sells.
There's a lot of terrible AAA stuff that has nothing to do with writing.
Oh, certainly. 100% I agree with you. But some of it can be attributed to writing, to fans.
Well, and yeah, obviously it makes sense that if there was a lowering of standards for people, then obviously the writing would be, the overall quality would be lower. But I really don't think it's gotten that much lower. Like, we still have gotten plenty of good books. Just,
yeah,
I don't think any of them have been the ultra popular ones. But to be fair, there's plenty of ultra popular stuff that was absolute garbage back from when our parents were alive. We just haven't heard about it because it all went away. Sneaky. In 10 years, no one will know what Twilight is.
No, they will know what Twilight is because, like I said, times have changed, my dude. Everything is forever on the internet now.
Yes, everything is forever.
People will be making fun of Twilight into the next.
It won't be known by any kind of positive reputation. It will be known as, wow, this was garbage, let's all laugh at it.
Okay, that is true, but the problem here is we're into a cycle of, this is garbage shit, it gets posted, people enjoy it because they haven't had good shit to read, so then they start writing, they're inspired by this shit tier stuff, and they start writing, and because they never really had shit to base their shit off of, they're shit tier as well, maybe even less. Because in this day and age of everything's perfect as long as you tried. I have gotten hate mail before from authors. Not from this show. But before this show, I have gotten hate mail from authors I legitimately tried to help. Because they saw nothing wrong with the fact that they used a period, exclamation point, question mark after a quotation mark. And when I pointed that out to them, I was harassing them.
What's this about harassing people?
So, we're in a day and age where mistakes aren't corrected because that would hurt someone's feelings. And I don't see us going up from here. I don't see us getting better quality things for quite some time. I mean, fucking, yeah, you got your indie game shit, You got the folks at Harebrained Schemes, for example. Battletech, I'm going to be playing the shit out of that soon. You got those folks. They make really good stories. They wrote Shadowrun. They wrote the Battletech. They're good, but they're indie, and they don't get a lot of publicity. So people that want to see.
I would disagree. It may not have been super popular at launch, but Shadowrun's gotten a lot of attention. It got enough attention to get 2 other games.
Yeah, that's true, but that's because of a dedicated audience, not because of what we call the normies. You go up to a casual gamer and go, hey, you know about Shadowrun? They're gonna fucking say no. They never heard of Shadowrun. You know what they've heard of? They've heard of Call of Duty. They've heard of Battlefield. They've heard of League of Legends.
Okay,
maybe
but here's
Dota.
the thing,
Wow.
You shouldn't bring up MOBAs because MOBAs don't have stories. Let's be clear here.
That's true.
It doesn't matter if it's hard, it doesn't matter if it's Han, it doesn't matter if it's Dota 2, it doesn't matter if it's League, it doesn't matter if it's, there's no story there. Like, yes, there might be a bare bones excuse for why these idiots are punching each other. There's no story, let's be clear there. But and see, just because a AAA game doesn't mean it can't have a good story. I mean, look at things like Modern Warfare 4.
I know that's my point though. Is the games that the, as the internet terms them, normies, the casuals, they hear about, it's a AAA shit. XCOM, maybe, but it's it's the iterative shit. Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, Battlefield, the shit that's super popular, that gets pumped out every year,
Yeah.
that people keep fucking buying. And I will admit, I keep fucking buying Assassin's Creed because I'm an Assassin's Creed whore, and I just really love the gameplay of it. No, I will admit though that the story is shit.
Even though the story's gone way downhill since.
It's almost an inverse thing. The gameplay improved, the story got worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, let's see. On the plus side of things, good things get popular. Yes, that's true. Good things do get popular. Unfortunately, good things only get popular if certain people pay attention to them. And, usually it's not profitable. You're not gonna see the news, and I'm not talking about mainstream news, I'm talking about, IGN and shit. They're not gonna be making 100 articles about how great Shadowrun is. What they are going to make articles about is Modern Warfare records, Battlefield records, how racist Kingdom Come Deliverance is. That's the kind of articles they're making. They're not making oh wow, look at BattleTech. They're not making oh wow, look at Grim Dawn. Look how fucking amazing Grim Dawn was. Jesus Christ, that game was fun.
His thing, a game like Grim Dawn appeals to a very specific subset of people.
That's my point, though. Is the really high quality shit doesn't appeal to everyone, and that's why it tends to be very high quality. Because it doesn't try to pander to everyone. It goes, okay, we're aiming for the Diablo 1 audience. What do they like? This, that, and the other thing. Alright, what are we going to deliver? This, that, and the other thing. And so the Diablo 1 audience fucking loves the game. No one else has ever heard of it.
Yeah.
But the good shit tends to not pander to a wide audience. So the good shit gets really liked by a small portion of people. So X community will hear a shit ton about it. But X community ain't the whole. X community is the minority. And X gonna give it to you.
Anyway.
Back to shit fiction. I've ranted enough, I've drunk enough. Let's get this shit pile on the road. What's AAA? I have no fucking idea what AAA is. That's just what everyone uses to refer to shit like EA, BioWare, Bethesda. I'm assuming it has something to do with their production monies. Or whatever. Speaking of criticism, fucking shit. I'm too drunk to have coherent thought in terms of remember. I had a really good point about constructive criticism, and I just can't fucking remember it right now.
You okay there, buddy? Maybe you should just stop for the night?
No, I have to keep going. I've noticed that too. Every chapter, I specifically say something to the effect of, at least criticize what you see is bad. I have gotten all of 2 reviews that pointed out problems. One of them was this stream. Yeah. That is a big problem. Is if you want criticism, you should go to places like the OG of fanfiction. If you want criticism on your fanfiction, you gotta go to Sufficient Velocity. Fuck space battles. Fucking bunch of triggered pricks. Anyway, This story is Inheritance Cycle Maelstrom. Did I link this? I did not link this. I will now link this into the Discord found down below. Inheritance Cycle Maelstrom. Storms do not just appear. They start with silent breezes and grow. Actually, depending on where you are, storms very much can just appear. An aristocrat rider, a princess, another aristocrat, why is that capitalized, and a thief. All connected, all interwoven fates. 100 years after the death of Galbatorix, new threats arise, new heroes, new villains. Shadow and light conflict, the right rider faces the dragon thief. And it all begins in a manor, or a tavern. Okay, well, does it happen in the manor or the tavern? If you believe sufficient velocities UI is archaic, fucking don't go near space battles then. Jesus Christ. Anything to say about this summary, fellas?
I mean, nothing here inherently bothers me, other than like it's 100 years after Galbatorix arises, which.
I just need a moment to. Oh, it's Inheritance Cycle. I have nothing to contribute here then, other than I feel like this would be an interesting D&D campaign.
No, here's the thing: it wouldn't be an interesting
really
D&D campaign. The other thing I was gonna say was this sounds like a hyper generic D&D campaign.
I mean, honestly, that's what Inheritance Cycle was.
Yeah, but Sneaky, this more so than even the story.
If the author doesn't know where the story begins, why should we read it? I mean, that's fair enough.
It all begins in a manor or a tavern. Well, which is it? Those are two very different things, author.
Yeah.
But like,
so my main
problem... you said it 100 years after. Honestly, at this point, you're far better off, author, going off and writing your own original fiction because it's 100 years afterwards.
Well, I mean, not only that, you run into the main problem of any other story section you could reasonably get away with 100 years later, completely new cast of characters. Only problem here is half the fucking cast of the Aragon series are basically immortal.
I was gonna say, they're either elves or dragon riders.
Or dragons.
Yeah, or dragons.
And so it's just like, okay, on one hand, we have the end of the Aragon series, in which Aragon takes all of the dragon eggs and leaves with them, leaving only a single dragon on the entire continent, which is under the control of Ira. Okay, so who the fuck's the dragon thief then? There are literally no other dragons in existence. There is Ira's dragon and all the shit Aragon took. So unless you're gonna have some contrived nonsense of, oh, Aragon actually forgot about an entire vault of eggs, and they all hatched for new people, and this guy just happened to figure out how to steal them all. Which is not only contrived nonsense, it's already been done!
I mean, they could just have him, come back. It's been 100 years.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. Is it, then, why are you starting with a new cast? I mean, it's like if fucking Luke came back, for example. It's like, oh, actually, Luke's not the hero. Luke just stood by and did absolutely fuck all nothing. Oh, wait, that's the plot of the 8th movie! Can you tell me
done yet?
about that? No, just a little bit. Anyway, it's like if Luke came back and it was just like, actually, instead of Luke being the hero, because that's what he sort of is, he's actually just gonna sit by and watch the galaxy be consumed in flames of racism and genocide.
Yes, you said that.
Yes, I know, I'm just reiterating it because of how fucking stupid that sort of idea is. oh yes, the original heroes would totally, if they were still alive, not do anything to prevent the new villains from, genociding or something like that. It's like, oh no, we must let the new generation take care of this problem. It's like, I mean, I could buy that if you were unable to move, but one of you's a fleet admiral and the leader of a rebellion force to fight the rebellion force that's rebelling against the government you're supporting, but you're also rebelling against them. That makes sense. And, yeah, one of them is a fleet admiral and the other one's a fucking Jedi, the only Jedi in existence because, everyone died or something. So I don't exactly see why they would, just sit back and do nothing. Because it's not like they're in a retirement home like Kakashi and Guy, they're kind of still on the front lines. Why wouldn't they go forth and do things?
Anyway.
Yeah. And point being, 100 years later, an Aragon story really isn't that long because 2/3 of the continent don't change over the course of 100 years.
Say, elves don't care? Dwarfs don't care?
How I mentioned, I grew up with the original series. I did as well. I don't like the movies. Like there was multiple. I don't.
I was gonna say I only knew a one.
Oh, no, you're talking about Star Wars. Sorry.
Yes,
I grew up with the original Star Wars series as well. I don't like the new ones either. Rogue One was most certainly fucking with canon. They heavily fucked canon in Rogue One.
Yeah, because they didn't have Kyle.
Also, the hyper-diverse cast of Rogue One.
What does that have to do with canon?
The fact that Rogue Squadron was in fact not hyper-diverse.
I mean, that is entirely dependent on which iteration of Rogue Squadron you are talking about.
That is fair enough. Correction, not fucking with canon as the other new movies. That is fair enough. Anyway, so you've all heard my drunken ramblings at this point. Let's move on and get this over with. There we go.
Knew you'd make it eventually.
Beginnings. Steel slipped through the man's body. His bearded face frozen in a look of shock. His dark hair hanging long and wildly. His dark eyes shining with surprise. What the fuck? This is a 1, 2, 3. This is almost a 4-line sentence.
See no problems here.
He felt death before it hit him. His mind was cold and numb from the shock of the cold metal. He didn't even have time to pull out his own blade. The bearded man coughed. Blood came from his throat. His hand was still upon his own sword when he fell. Vior looked down at the man with a cold look of disgust. You shouldn't have threatened me. I understand you don't like elves, but calling me a demon bastard whose skin should be peeled off his smug face. Wait, Vior as in like Vior from fucking canon?
I don't know.
Is that his name? Pretty sure that was his name.
It's been so long since I saw that or read those books. Like,
Oh. Oh no. No, Vior is the self-insert elf. Vior is the name of the author.
Oh.
But I thought the author's note was like, no, not a self-insert, which obviously I understand. Just because they say something doesn't mean
he
it's
never
true.
said it wasn't a self-insert. Wait, no, hold on. Character Vior is not named after me.
He's not a self-insert.
My account is named after an Old Norse word for storm, with one of the letters being in English. It should actually be Vidir. However, I think Vior sounds better. Yes, Vior sounds much better than Vidir, the Thunder Striker. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. This is just a wall of text. Holy fucking shit, wall of text, Batman. I'm Batman.
Woo!
This is a fucking wall of text. Wall of text. Wall of text. Not wall of text. You can do better than that, Tor. She said in jest, a smug grin on her face. Tor, her opponent, with pale hair and green eyes, was wearing clothing similar to Jesus fucking Christ! So
Are
it's
you
a
regretting
wall
your
of
decisions?
text. What?
Are you regretting your decision?
I don't regret anything. I'm drunk. Okay. How would you ever expect to join the Varda Greymare?
So, the what?
The Varda
I don't
Greymare,
know.
because apparently this is taking heavily from the new Star Wars lore, in which the rebels are still rebels, but also are in control of the world government.
Yes, that makes sense. Yes, carry on.
Okay.
So we're rebelling against the government, which we had taken control of.
I'm not following.
I don't see a
Exactly.
problem here.
Alright, so,
By the way, did the new movies ever explain how the First Order popped back
No,
up, requiring
they
another
didn't.
rebellion?
Ever.
No.
Slightly.
No.
Because the sixth
At
movie
all.
in straight up like, alright guys, we've established a new republic, we're gonna honor our war heroes now.
Well,
So,
I mean, not even that. The movie fucking ended with, hey, guys, remember that all of our money? Yeah, we poured it all into making this giant doom planet. Oh, wow, it exploded, and our leader basically died. We're still going to be able to form together, right? And then they all shouted, form of Imperial Firstborn Fleet! And they all turned into a giant fleet. And that's how the fleet came back.
Yes.
I would guess the First Order is based off of the Imperial Remnant faction. No, actually, Isley, if so, this is why I hate the new movies. I'm gonna switch this to I think this is where we're not gonna cover any more fan fiction. This is just gonna be a Star Wars hate rant from now on.
Oh, joy.
So, if you followed the one of the main producers of Star Wars, the new movies, you would understandably hate them as well, because the one of the main producers, not the main producers, the main directors, there we go, of the new Star Wars movies, the writers, directors, etc. Came out on Twitter and said the First Order is actually a representative of the white male patriarchy Nazism that is in America.
That I'm gonna demand a soft.
I need source for that.
It's on Twitter. It's fucking out there. Let me see if I can pull it up. Well, basically, let's see. Twitter is Nazis in America tweet. But basically, the guy was like, super cringy, SJW-ish, and like, oh yeah, actually, they're the representation of Nazis, and blah blah blah.
Okay, but look, whatever stupid stuff that the author might, director might say.
I'm aware of that, but when one of the main writers goes, "Bro, political opinion here about the Star Wars movie I'm leading the writing on," and then it comes out and it's super fucking cringy, and you're like, okay, well this has been blatantly affected by the head writer's political leanings. It's just like, okay, well maybe the tweets didn't have much reasoning before that, but you know, after the movies come out and you see these tweets from this guy, oh, they've been deleted. Of course they've been deleted. You know, now that the tweets have come out and you're comparing them to what's in the movie, and you're just like, fucking Christ.
Look, rather than complaining about something that you currently can't verify for us, how about we talk about the actual problems that are easily complainable about? Like,
I'm gonna keep tip-tapping away and drinking.
Stuff like, hey, where did the, and Max raises this is an excellent point, where did the First Order come from? Where did it get its money? Like, okay, let's go off what Isaac said. Let's say it is theoretically based off the Imperial Remnant. There are a multitude of problems with that. First of all, the Imperial Remnant, let's say that it is based off the Imperial Remnant, and Snoke exists, and Snoke keeps them from falling into the problems that the Imperial Remnant fell into, which was everybody and their mother saying, I am the Emperor's successor. Okay? Cool. That does not answer the question of where did they get the money? Because they are now no longer the legitimate government. Even if they still controlled large sections of the galaxy, where did they get the money to have not only maintain their current stuff, but to build not just a Death Star, a Death Planet? Where did they get the money to build Snoke's capital ship? Presumably at the same time they're building this Death Planet. Where did they get the money to do new weapons development research on AT-AT?
Here we go. Please note the Empire is a white supremacist organization. By Chris Weitz, one of the lead writers for Rogue One. And it's opposed by a multicultural group of brave women.
Well, currently all it just says is rant mode on, so...
I know, this is an article by the Atlantic. So
okay, well then go ahead and just throw it up on your screen.
It's right here, I know. It's right here. Please note, the Empire is a white supremacist organization opposed by...
turn rant mode off!
Fuck you!
It's impossible to read!
Fuck you! That's what my opinion of it is. A key part of writing a good story is being able to set aside biases. See Worm, in which the E-88 are being shown as racist but totally evil, but not just evil, despite Wildbow not being neo-Nazi. Yeah. Turns out, humans are humans, and even if they're piles of shit, they can still not be complete 100% lol, I wake up and eat kittens evil. Then there's this article here by The Atlantic again. Star Wars: The Feminism Awakens.
And look, I agree with you. It's stupid, especially because
About
what angers me about
Yeah.
this.
And then there's this new article with Star Wars gets its first black director. Because apparently Star Wars getting a black director is super important. Black female director. Because it's not like, oh, Star Wars gets this amazing new upcoming director who filmed this amazing new movie that everyone loved, and now she's working on Star Wars. It's like, oh, that's cool. No, it's not that. What it is, hey guys, we found a black female to direct the next movie. Aren't you all excited for it? It's like, why the fuck does that matter? That's what pisses me off about the new movies. Star Wars: The Feminism Awakens. Then we have this shit with fucking Rogue One. It's just fucking ideological shittery. And that doesn't belong in movies. It does in political movies. Star Wars isn't a fucking political movie. Yes, the Empire is based off of Nazis. Wow! No one saw that. Duh. Nazis are evil. They have really, really shit policies. They also are capable of running a government really well. Wow, that translated really well into a multi-planet, galaxy-spanning empire. Oh yeah, everyone's fucking suffering under it, but it's holding itself together better than the corrupt Republic. Okay, and people are obviously rebelling against it because Jesus fucking Christ, the human atrocities committed by them. Okay. That's not really getting to modern political commentary. Star Wars: The Feminism Awakens, where half of the movie is Rey going, I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't need no man. That's getting political. It gets me, I'm just tired of it. That's just so tired. If I can say something, I'm gonna drink.
Anyway, the thing that bothers me about it is I see these writers saying, oh, well, see, we wanted to put these really strong female characters in there. To which my response is, did you ever fucking look at the Star Wars Expanded Universe? Ever? At all?
Have you ever picked up a comic with Leia in it?
Have you ever heard of Mara Jade? Jan Ors? Bastila?
Or,
Jaina
God.
Solo?
yeah. It's also Jet Booster's wife. That woman's fucking terrifying.
Who?
Jet Booster. He's an old connection of Mara Jade's. He tends to show up in Timothy Zahn's works more often than not, if he ever shows up at all.
No, oh!
Yeah, he's got a pretty
you mean
scary wife.
Booster Tarek?
Yeah, sorry, where'd I get Jet Booster? I think I was combining two characters there.
I'm like, who the fuck is Jet Booster?
So keeping it in line with Star Wars, Chrysanthemum says, strong female character rarely means what it says on the tin. For example, the strong female character, air quotes, heavy air quotes, of Star Wars Battlefront 2's campaign, aka basically a guy with boobs.
I mean, I didn't touch 2, so I can't comment on it. So, and I
Okay,
won't.
I looked at a couple articles and I watched some people comment on it and cite some things on it. I didn't do too much of an in-depth study, but basically that's the sort of pattern I've seen. I've seen 2 types mainly. Obviously 3 types. I've seen 3 types technically of strong female characters. Genuine strong female characters where they're a well-rounded person who is the main focus of the story. So obviously they're strong. Okay? Then there's type 2. I am a strong female character. That is my only character trait. Look how strong I am in every single scene. I am the strong female character. My name is insert your name here. And then there's 3, which is I am a strong female character. I don't need no man in every single scene, despite what's happening. Whether they win, lose, or get shot in the face.
Well, Sticky, it's just as stupid as all the. It's just a power fantasy. That's all it is. It's a power fantasy. And it's
I know, but the thing is, though, is we don't call the power fantasy stories strong male characters. It's a power fantasy story. Like, no one goes around touting Luke as a very complex, in-depth character. No, he's a fucking basically male power fantasy of a character going from farmhand to hero of the galaxy.
Who also gets the girl.
Who gets the girl. That also sort of was his sister. But,
Are we still sticking in the context of just the movies?
yes.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
So, you know, it's like, the problem is we're not calling it what it is. Is it personally, in my opinion. The strong female characters that are just power fantasies should just be called power fantasies. It's just a fucking power fantasy. That's all it is. There's no character there. It's a power fantasy. If you want to have a strong female character, to have a strong male character, you gotta do the same fucking thing. You gotta actually have a well-rounded character that actually has personality beyond the first dimension. That doesn't win everything. That doesn't always have the Deus Ex Machina save the day, but they learn from their mistakes. That's how you have a strong insert sex here character.
Honestly, we would just appreciate it if you people would actually write decent characters.
Yeah. Strong independent character tends to make them be horrible people because of bad writing, as in they're usually jackasses. There's a lot of girl on girl hate I've noticed, where strong female character means I hate on people who use makeup because tomboys are better. I've seen that a bit. Just a little bit, because I'm not too in depth in that sort of section there. I do, however, see a lot of strong female characters being inserted into, say, Mass Effect Andromeda. That are flat and boring and have one dimension to their personality of them being a strong character. It's just they're not characters. They're just fucking power fantasies. They're cardboard cutouts. They aren't characters. They're not people that you can realistically see doing every day-to-day things. If you can't imagine your character getting up and eating breakfast, probably not a comprehensive character. If all you can imagine your insert here, that goes for OCs too, for fanfiction. If all you can do is imagine your character, flying out in their jet fighter as they take out their revolver pistol and shoot down the satellite, they aren't exactly a character. They're kind of a power fantasy cardboard cutout. Anything to add on that, Atin?
Not really, no.
Yeah. Funny thing about diversity, look at Worm, look at the cast. It's fairly diverse cast, and no one ever's complained about that due to them being well written. Well, yeah, no shit. Like, the only people that get angry over diversity is when it's diversity, so everything else suffers, and so everyone rightly complains about it because they're like, I came here for entertainment, and instead you just handed me a polished piece of shit and said, eat this. And then B, the people who are so ideologically on one side or the other that they can only see their worldview, and if you don't conform to it, they hate you. Everyone else goes, hey, this is a very well-written character. I enjoy them. Oh, by the way, they're Mexican. What, they're Mexican? I didn't even notice because I was too busy enjoying their character. You know, am I alone in this, or are you guys just gonna...
Well, no, just the general way that any character should be written. Information about your character should not be the defining thing about your character. Like, this was actually a problem the solo children had for quite some time until we got... I'm trying to remember, but, like, probably through the first, like, 6-ish books where they were actually characters and not just, like, 1-year-old babies. It was a huge problem where the solo children's defining thing was being the solo kids. And people were just supposed to like them because of that.
Yep.
Similarly, if you put in a character that is gay, and people are supposed to like them because they are gay, you're stupid. That applies to anything. I don't care. If character trait X is what is supposed to make people like them, if they're male, so they're supposed to be liked. If they're female, so they're supposed to be liked. If they are a fucking 17-armed spaghetti monster, so they're supposed to be liked, you're stupid and bad at writing.
Yeah. It's something I've told several people for, because I have legitimately met, in real life, people who legitimately introduce themselves as, hi, I am gay, or hi, I am trans, and my name is blank. And I had to look at them and go, why the fuck would you define yourself by a characteristic that you can't help? It would be like if you had walked up to someone and went, hi, I am white and my name is blank. It's like, why would you introduce yourself as that? It's, my name is blank. Why does your sexual orientation, skin color, etc., even play into your introduction? Real life or as a character? It doesn't fucking matter. In any situation, you should be a person first and characteristics later. The characteristics should make the person, not the other way around. You know?
I agree with you.
Yeah.
People like to write what they know, as Sean here said. People like to write what they know because It's what they're familiar with. It's what they're comfortable with. And I'm fine with that. But people then can't complain that they don't see more of what they know. You know, it turns out there's a lot of Indians in India. There's a lot of white people in Europe and America. There's a lot of black people in Africa. Shocker, I know. There's a lot of Chinese people in China. Turns out there's a lot of China-centric movies in China. There's a lot of white characters in American movies. There's a lot of black characters in African movies. It's almost like forms of entertainment aim themselves at the largest audience. I didn't want to get political, I didn't want to get ideological in this sort of shit, but we've encountered enough stories today. We've encountered enough stories over the time of this podcast that it's something that needs to be said occasionally. In that I'm fucking sick of these pandering bullshits, whether it's the source material or the fan fiction for it. I'm tired of seeing this shit where it's people are complaining about the fan fiction because there's plenty of fan fiction authors that get fucking death threats because X, Y, and Z is X, Y, and Z and not X, Y, and Z. I realize I said the same thing, but to that person it makes a difference. People are fucking crazy. Can't help that. You shouldn't pander to the minority. It doesn't fucking work out. The minority that's the loudest is the minority you should ignore. Honestly. If the majority has a problem with something, oh, trust me, you'll know pretty fucking quick if the majority has a problem with something.
No,
they don't have
you'll
to
know pretty
shout
quick
about
if the
that.
minority has a problem with it.
Oh, I mean, yes, you'll know quick if a loud minority has a problem with it. But China's a good example. In the latest Star Wars movie in China, 16% of what they got for the previous movie. The majority didn't need to march in the streets and go on Twitter and shout about X, Y, and Z. The majority said fuck that shit and made it heard in other ways. So trust me, you'll know when the majority disagrees with you. But, you know. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you everyone for putting up with my drunken rants. I hope is this what you all come here for? I think so.
I would say no, but sure.
I mean, at this point, I mean they're still here. I would say at least mildly. But yeah.
Yeah, okay, but like Sneaky, people gawk at roadside accidents not because they think it's interesting, but because they can't look away.
I mean that's true enough. However, they interact with us. I could understand if we had a couple people in our chat who just sat there every single stream and never said a word. I could be like, all right, so they're just here to watch the train wreck that is my existence. That's understandable. But they interact with us. They talk with us. They ask our opinions. Well,
That's
my
true.
opinions.
They do.
And as I said, thank you everyone for joining us today. I am Sneaky Devil. Max Force was here, but didn't really say much. So just in case you guys forgot about him, yeah, he was here. And Atin was here as well, giving his opinions. You really can't disagree with me there, Max. You really didn't say much. Anyway, as always, Tuesdays and Fridays, the archive of last week's Tuesday is going up tonight. I mean, it'll probably pop up around Wednesday morning-ish or so. But, tell people. Go onto the Reddits. Go onto the 5chans. Go onto the YouTube comments. And the Discords. And the Skirps. And tell people about this podcast, because I honestly would like to interact with the audience more than read shit fan fiction. But you can't always win. Alright, so see you next time, everyone. And remember, there's always more, and it always gets worse.